Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Dada Show, coming to you straight from the Kenya Bay Beach Hotel here in Mombasa. I'm your host, Ashiko Mbune. And as always, the Dada Show is an equality and inclusion program that focuses on issues that women care about, their impact and the implication in regards to the 2022 general elections. We always want to hear from you, so please keep us engaged on all our social media platforms at the Dada's KBC. We look forward to your comments, your questions, and anything you may have to share with us in regards to this show or any other show. According to a report by the Girls Not Brides, an organization that champions against early marriages, we have 23% of Kenyan women who are married before they hit the age of 18, and another 4% who are married or in unions before the age of 15. Kenya is the 18th highest absolute number of women in unions before they get to the age of 18. Of course, early marriages vary from regions, they vary from ethnic communities. Here in Kenya, the leading community is from northern Kenya, followed by the coastal province, and of course the Nyanza region. We're going to dig into that, especially during this episode of the Dada Show from the coastal area, and try and see what some of the reasons that attribute to that. But before we head into that, let's have a look at the following feature.
As the world celebrated Day of the African Child on 16th June this year, Deputy Chief Justice marked the celebration by coming face to face with the challenges affecting Kenya's youngest generation. Speaking during the event that was held at Mbagathi Primary School, Deputy Chief Justice made a pledge to children that the judiciary will do everything within its power to ensure all laws relating to their protection is adhered to.
The judiciary, through an organ called the National Council on the Administration of Justice, has done all there is to be done, continues to do all that there is to be done to ensure that our children are protected.
This comes after rising cases of teenage pregnancy, early marriage among children, and child labor have become a menace in the coastal region. According to a 2016 report by UNICEF, each year 15 million girls are married before the age of 18. That is 28 girls every minute and 1 girl every 2 seconds. Child marriage prevalence is the highest in northern Kenya at 56% and coast at 41%.
We have situations where you get girls that feel this is not okay for them, this is not what they chose, and because they are so young, they cannot deal with marital issues and they still feel they are not strong enough to handle the family. They go back to the parents and tell them they want out of the marriage. This is something they did not choose. But again, you find that it can be difficult because most of these marriages are arranged by uncles, the men that get to do the decisions in the society in this setting. Therefore, this kind of girls, when they talk about how they want out of the marriage, we find mothers who come to us and explain the situation to us. And then we come in as an organization and support this girl to ensure that they transition from this marriage, to ensure they pursue their dreams, to ensure that if they decide to leave this marriage and go back to school, they know it is accepted, they know that they still have the right to pursue their education.
Statistics published on a monthly publication of the African Women and Child states that in Kilifi County, between the periods of 2016 to 2017, there were 54 child marriages, of which 22 were in the age bracket of 11 to 15 years, while 23 were in the age group of 16 to 18 years. Though child marriage is illegal in Kenya, it is culturally acceptable and widely practiced. The causes of child marriage include socio-economical factors such as poverty, low education, and the treatment of girls as economical assets. Child marriage disrupts a girl's life, affects her health, education, physical stability, emotional stability, psychological stability, and sociological stability, among aspects of experiencing life as a whole. Local leaders at the coast have continued to raise concern on the rise in cases of early marriages, arguing that by increasing the amount of bursary allocation to support children's education will see the reduction of cases in the coastal region.
Welcome back. Thank you for joining me back to discuss the issues. Joining me today are individuals who are working hard to change the narrative for the better, especially in the coastal region. Right next to me is Elizabeth Nanjali, who is an advocate of the High Court. Next to her is Madam Naila Abdallah, who is a survivor and an activist against early marriages. Next to her, we have Madam, who is the candidate MCA representative for Kilifi, Juliet Mapenzi. And finally, we have our he for she, Mr. Philip Kaume, who is a counseling psychologist from Amani Counseling Center, Amani Counseling and Training Center. Karibuni sana. I appreciate the fact that you took time from your busy schedules to sit with me. Of course, I can't miss to acknowledge my very diverse, very vibrant audience who will be interacting and digging deeper into these issues in the course of the week. Karibuni sana, ladies. Yeah? Get the ball rolling. My first question is to you, Wakili. From your vast knowledge and experience, especially being in this region, what do you think are the main drivers of early marriages?
The main drivers are basically poverty, lifestyle, especially in the coastal area with the tourists coming in and out. We have parental negligence. You know, some parents can go away and then leave their kids and they have to fend for themselves. So we have poverty, we have lifestyle, we have culture, especially in the Kwale area. They still practice early marriages and the culture. So basically, those are the factors.
Okay, so as a lawyer, what is the legal framework around early marriage?
As I was saying, it's defilement. Early marriages basically is defilement because minors cannot consent to marriage, they cannot consent to sex. So that's defilement under the law. So the defilement basically is from the ages of months and up to 17 years. But when you look at early marriages, it's between the ages of, because they always marry them off between the ages of 12 and 17. So that's the age. It's still defilement. So basically under the law, it's defilement and it's against the law.
And unconstitutional.
And unconstitutional to top, to top it all.
Yeah. Naila, you do have a story. You're not a victim. You're a survivor, and your resilience is what led you to becoming the activist that you are. You know, in all essence of the word. If you don't mind, please share with us your story.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think this should be my second show for sharing my story. I know most of my colleagues, my people doesn't know the history or the journey why I started being an activist, especially being a gender activist. But through the situation that I had faced, I don't want to experience any other lady, any other dada, any other sister to experience such. For me, I say, Alhamdulillah, I thank God. I was able to try to come out, but it's a story that I think you guys have reminded me for almost 10 years past. It's not easy to share the situation, but I think as Wakili said, most of the things that drives people or drives girls is poverty. You find a family feeling like you have girls in the house, you have, there's a man coming, especially in coast when there's a man coming with a lot of money or some quite of money or anything, that's a quick is let go for any girl in our situation. For me, I think until now, I still feel like there's still room for me to continue with my education, but I think if it was not for that early marriage, I would have holding my degrees and bachelors by now. But thank God, I'm still pursuing a bachelor degree in Islamic studies, and I think there's always time for everyone.
My journey has not been easy. I think I got first pregnancy with on my 18, which was very early for me. In fact, when I was getting married, I was telling Mama, how is to push when I was in labor. My mom felt so bad, and I think she was saying, my girl is still young for this, you know? And I was like, Mama, what is this? I was always backing up with my mother. Though my mom, when I was getting married, she wasn't really into that. But you know, us, especially in our culture, Arabs or Swahili, we feel like our women doesn't have much say to talk in the decision making. Wazee wameamua, wababa wameamua, my uncles wameamua, that's
the final, yeah.
So my mother was really not into this, but at the end, in our society or in Islamically, we say that stara, you know, kuolewa ni kitu, it's something like it's stara, nitasema vipi, ni kitu yani inakuzuia wewe with outside things, kama kuonekana prostitution, kama kuonekana you are doing bad stuff in the society. So it's something that blocks you to that. And for us, Muslim society, we appreciate being married. A woman who is married in a matrimonial house and all that, it's being valued. So in that situation, for example, myself, I wasn't able to handle a man at that time, yeah? And we know in our society, we take kungwi, tuko na makungwi, those people who train you to become a wife in the house. But for us, also in our culture, Arab culture, we don't do kungwis. So personally, when I was getting married, in fact, I didn't love that person. It's arranged marriage, right? Just a week, if I can recall, they came on Wednesday and the marriage was on Saturday. So you can feel the pressure that was in. You go to saloon, you go to this, you do this. So at that time, I was like, now what is all this? In my situation, I was like, sasa hii ni mambo gani? Sasa hivi I must get married. Can they wait? I want to finish my school. I want to do this. I want to do that. But it was that quick one. Yeah, I think I got into marriage I didn't even expect to be a mother at that time, or I didn't expect to be a wife. Unaamka, unaambiwa, you prepare this, you do that, you do that. I started housing. Yani tunaambiwa kushika nyumba.
Bado ulikuwa mtoto wewe mwenyewe.
Bado ulikuwa mtoto. As much as my body was kind of big, but in my brain, in my situation, I wasn't like that. Sometimes I even go to my friends, tulikuwa tunacheza nao, I go back, I find myself playing with my friends back then when they were going to school. So life has never been easy. I started life of marriage, which was very difficult, and I'll never wish any girl outside there to get into that situation. Muambia wasichana, take your time. Take your time, don't rush into marriage. I have a 25 girl, I have my girls who are looking up to me. Nambia, madam, mpaka saizi mimi sijaolewa. Nambia, don't rush. There's nothing much to rush there. So there's a lot of pain I don't want to share. I might shed tears here, but early marriages, we don't discourage, but once you are ready, once you know that this is the man you want to live with, then you'll be able to achieve. But that is the main cause in Mombasa or in coast that marriages doesn't last for long. Some even go for 7 months, 5 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, 1 day. You can imagine a marriage of 1 day or 1 month. People have spent, you've done many things, but doesn't last long. So we need to change the narrative, as you've said, and I'm the survivor. I'm not calling myself a victim, but I only stayed in that marriage for only a maximum of 2 years, but 2 years of hell.
Yeah. I mean, I have to commend you for your courage, first of all, for coming. I know that was not definitely not an easy topic to touch on, on TV in front of people. You may have interacted with people, others not so much. So in light of what Naila has just shared with us and the kind of effect that it had on her, she'd find herself going back to play with kids her age, because she was a child, you know. So what kind of impact does that, from a psychological point of view, what kind of impact does that have on society? When her mother was watching her getting married and she did not want her to get married, but she does not have a say. What is your outlook on the whole society, on the whole scenario?
Thank you. This is Philip Kaume from Amman Counseling Center. I would say that it really touches a lot. Starting from the individual, you'll find the individual undergoes 4 things. Number 1, cognitive or mentally, you are affected. And you find the functions that you are doing day by day, you cannot do them rightly, because one or another, you have been put to that situation as hard as you are. Remember, in any early marriage, we are looking at under 18. And if we are under 18, this person has not completely fully developed to the level that is he or she required. So once you involve to some of the psychosocial issues or whatever that can be happening to you, can really affect you cognitively. The other thing is also physically. You'll find that your physiology, part of it, the way you are developing. Remember, as we look at the issues of giving birth, you know, it's like you are being abused. When you come to the medical part of it, they have a struggle on how to work it out so that they can make it right for you to give birth either in the right way or through cesarean section, whereby also that the person is so much affected, and within that becomes really of an issue and goes back to the cognitive part of it, of the person feeling, really, am I ready for this marriage? Yeah. Am I ready for whatever I'm supposed to be? The other thing is about the emotional part of it. You find the emotional part of it, as you have heard my colleague here, she's talking about feeling to cry. If she continues, she'll have to feel to cry, whichever way. You find the feelings or the emotional part of it, when you had it with the thinking process, it gives an action, and that gives a behavior. And that behavior, you find, it might be emotionally. You've been moved, and you find all the days of your life, it's like you have been mishandled by the community or by the family. So you find emotionally they are really dreaded, and they feel neglected within the community or within the family, though it has been put in the culture that I need to be married, it's so very much okay, this and this. But remember, it will have to depend also on the environment that you are growing up in. Like, for example, if you have been going to school, even to kindergarten, it's all about human beings are social beings. Yes. So you find that you are lacking the social part of you. Your age mates, even if they are 10 years or 11 years, you are missing them. You don't have such a relationship. And once the social part of it is taken away from you, also the development part of it, of you, becomes of an issue. And that's why we are saying these are some of the things that we need to look at them as we continue looking at this meeting that we are having here today, that we may be able to help the girl child as far as the early marriages are concerned, and even to our communities that are very much aware they are benefiting. Remember, also the benefit is there for the family because you are paying the dowry. Yeah. And you are given all that money, yet the person who has been given for that money, the girl child is not enjoying. The who is enjoying is the family. So you can see how we are being infected and how it's making it more problem. And that's why you find within our country, also the economy part of it will have to go down because we are having less people who are productive as far as psychologically makeup of a human being it's all about.
Of a person. Thank you so much, Brother Philip. That is a very good tangent to look at it. You know, in what is the psychosexual and the psychosocial effects of early marriages, and not just for the girl, but even for the community and down the line. You know, that's why I like the fact that you brought in even our economy, because you see, Naila, like she's talking about, and congratulations for pursuing your degree. If we were looking at Naila, perhaps if she would have pursued her degree and done all of that, she would be, you know, very upstanding. She's still an upstanding member of society, but she would be, you know, she'd be absolutely generating to the GDP, you know, as we speak. Now, speaking of that, Mheshimiwa, you are very active in the fight against early marriage. And being in the political realm, which is always considered very misogynistic, it's a very, you know, it's very patriarchal. I'm sure this has also given you its own set of challenges. How did you get involved in this, and what are some of the initiatives that you have put in place to support this very noble cause?
Thank you so much. I'm Juliet Mapenzi Rua, retired assistant chief. And actually, whatever it is that I've gone through as an administrator is what made me resign and join the political field. Because coming from Kilifi County, and especially the rural part of Kilifi, I feel that, or being in the picture, I feel that the girl child is still left way back behind. If I compare to the girls in Mombasa or the urban part of Kilifi, being in Kaloleni specifically, I feel that there's still a long way we have to go as the female. First of all, being an administrator, I think the first month that I got employed, I got a case which really struck me hard. There's a girl who was 13 years by then. She came to my office with her mother. When she came to my office, she wanted me to assist her. I was very much concerned. Why do you want me to assist you? The case was that this 13-year-old girl had been married as a second wife. So, how do you want me to assist you as your assistant chief? Funny enough, the husband was abusing her. The husband was not taking good care of her. He left her matrimonial home when she was 6 months pregnant because of the negligence and the battering of the husband. So since when she was 6 months old pregnant, until she had delivered, the child is 3 months. All this time, the husband didn't even come to check her, how she's progressing. So when she came to me, the help that her plus her mother, the help that they needed from me is that I help call his husband so that I can talk to him and she can go back to her husband. So and even the mother was really supportive of that.
So the mindset is so mixed up. Instead of the fact that alikuwa ameolewa akiwa na miaka 13, they're coming for mwambie mzee arudi nyumbani atule mimi na mtoto wangu wake.
Yes. So I think you can get the picture.
Yes, I can.
So it struck me hard, na nikaona yenyewe being a female leader, I have a long way to go. And mind you, since independence, I was the first female leader in my community. So I think you can get the picture. There's a difference between the rural part and the urban part. So I took it up upon myself, nikaanzisha mentorship. I had 5 primary schools in my sub-location. So I had to make sure I have mentoring. I have to mentor my girls plus the boys, not the girls alone. So I had these mentoring sessions. And in my first mentorship session, there are a set of 3 girls who also asked me a question. Madam, are you sure that me being a girl, I can school and end up being somebody one day in my life? I was like, really? Nikamwambia, yes, of course. Why am I here? And in fact, you can excel and do better than me. I'm just an assistant chief. Si ati si kazi poa. It is, but you can excel even further. Nikawapatia a set of examples. There are very, very many female leaders ambao wamefanya poa. And these girls, imagine, hiyo kitu iliwa motivate. And since then, to date, hakuna KCP inafanywa na kosa kupeleka more than 5 girls in national schools.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is fantastic.
Nikaona yenyewe kuko na kazi. So as vile nilikuwa ninaendelea kufanya hii kazi ya administration and the cases that I used to get, ile msichana ametoka kwa marriage, wameolewa mapema, the experience they get there, it's not what they used to think that marriage is like.
Yes.
So parental negligence needs to be really dealt with. So nikaona pia nikideal na wanafunzi peke yake, it won't be of any help. I have to, hao wanafunzi wakitoka shule, where do they go back? Their homes.
Yes.
That is where the problem is. So nikaanzisha mentorship in primary schools, na nikaanzisha mentorship, niko na mentor parents. Parents who are doing differently, but they are in the same community. So I use these parents, tukiwa na parents meeting, tunaitana on board, we give them spaces where they can articulate or they can even educate their fellow parents.
Yes.
Nikiwa na chiefs baraza, the same things happen. So how did I join politics? Kutumia using the different avenues that nilikuwa nafanya kazi na the community, even when I resigned, my bosses walisema that it's a big blow to them. Because nilikuwa bring the other side of administration. Si ile tu ya kuketi na kuandika kwa ofisi. But I wanted to the community to see a different perception of the girl child. Now that since independence hakujai kuwa na kiongozi mwanamke, now here I'm the assistant chief. How can I prove the community wrong? Waanze kuona mtoto wa kike si mtu wa kuolewa peke yake, but they can do better.
As someone of value. Yes, correct.
So through those avenues, ndio nikaamua, after the community pushed me a lot, nikaamua enyewe I need to get a step higher. Niweze ku-articulate the female issues even in the county assembly.
Yes.
Kwa sababu nikiangalia those who've been in leadership, hawana hata ile story ya kumotivate the girl child ama hata wanafunzi wetu. Mtoto anasema even if I school, what's the importance of education? Juu at the end of the day, sioni anything tangible that education itanisaidia. So nikasema I'm the right person to bring that change in my community. Wow. And that is why I ventured into politics.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. That is truly an inspiring story, and that is a good platform to actually, you do have things, that should be incorporated in your manifesto. You're the leaders that we look forward to, people who have been on the ground, who know what is happening. I like what you said, you didn't do administration for just signing papers. You got into the grizzly and the grime and knew all the corners of your place. So I really congratulate you, and I really wish you nothing but the best of luck in your journey. I want to move back to you, Wakili. What does the government, in your own opinion, as somebody who understands the law, what does the government need to do to intervene in this particular situation? Because you have mentioned earlier that according to the Constitution, the rightful age of marriage is 18 and upwards, but yet we are seeing like cases like Nyla's, the cases like she's talking about. And they're coming to a political office and reporting. So what does the government need to do? Who is jumping in? Who needs to intervene? Because I would think that's a crime that is at least punishable by some jail time.
Yes.
And yet no one is being arrested. Nothing is happening.
That's criminal. That's criminal.
Yes.
And that's why we have police stations. Basically, once it's the society as a whole. We don't have, we keep the responsibility to the society as a whole. If you see a child getting married at an early age, this early marriage, basically it's defilement. You go and report the same to the police station. We have police stations everywhere, even in the remote part of the country, we have police stations. Once the crime is reported, the perpetrators are arrested. Once they're arrested, now they're taken to court. So basically it's criminal case, you report to the police station, the perpetrators are arrested. Most of the time, the husband and even the parents, if they are involved, the parents are supposed to be arrested as well, and they're also charged together with the perpetrator, who is the husband now. So they're arrested and then they're taken to court. After they have been taken to court, they take a plea. After they have taken a plea, basically most of them take a plea of not guilty, and now they're granted bond to go and do their matter outside. Once the trial now goes on, and after the trial, basically they are sentenced between 20 to 25. That's the minimum sentence, between the 20 and 25 years.
So that's nice. That sounds like that's a blueprint of how it should happen.
Yes.
My question is, how often does that happen? How many cases have you handled yourself as an advocate of the High Court where somebody came and they reported, and you've seen the matter all the way till somebody has been sentenced or the girl has been taken back? Because it feels like everything is always put in place, but when it comes to the implementation, that's where there's always a discord. Do you feel like the government is taking up its role? Let's start from the police stations that you talked about. Do they take up the role? Do they go and catch the perpetrators? Naila, you look like you want to jump in right there.
They actually do.
Yeah.
They actually do.
They do,
actually
yeah?
We have organizations nowadays. We have the NGOs.
Yeah.
We have so many organizations nowadays.
Exactly.
They come in, they take those children, they
Yeah.
make sure that the organizations now report. And
Yeah.
that's when we come in. Because I am an advocate in so many organizations like IGM, and
Yeah.
so many NGOs. So
Yeah.
that's when we come in and make sure that the perpetrator is taken.
That
so
is
they
so
actually,
encouraging.
it happens.
Hakuna police station ambayo haina gender desk.
Exactly.
So such like initiatives ndio zinasaidia actually hizi vitu, because way back mtu amepitia like maybe Naila story, hata you feel ashamed even to go out there and report, and then if you end up reporting hata watu wanakuchekelea, but through such like initiatives, hizo stories za gender desk, stories za youth friendly services, at least you feel appreciated, you feel you are in a safe space.
Yeah, to
Yes,
add on
Naila.
that, I have a community-based organization, Sisters for Justice. Basically, we're defending women's and girls' rights. Issue inakuja pale, family inafanya kangaroo court.
What do you mean by a kangaroo court?
You are saying what is the government doing, what is this, but the government has already set things in place.
Yeah.
Problem comes to our community.
True.
Wameona mtoto amefanyika hivi, stigmatization, unyanyapaa, nini, wanafanya vitu inaishia hapo kwa hapo. Unapata hata kama, for example, us NGOs and CBOs, when you are looking for such cases, tumepata such case, itafika mahali itakwama on a community-based part. Wanaachia, inakuwa ni community thing, inakuwa ni vitu ya kuficha maneno ya kuficha mpaka unapata mtoto amepata mimba, hata ametoroshwa kwa auntie mbali sana. When it comes to government, we also have a role for them to play. Inafika mahali, especially katika evidence, unapata community hawajakuwa much knowledge ama awareness yenye early pregnant haijapata. Unapata DPP anakuambia there's no enough evidence. In fact, sijui mtoto, she's actively settling and
so now they're victim shaming. The young girl is the one. And you said something very important in terms of information, which was actually my next question. So if the government has put in place things that are functional and they're the right channels to be used, and the community seems to be the ones who are not taking to action and using these channels that have been created for them, do you feel like the discord could be in terms of dissemination of information? Kuna watu hawajui, munafikiria watu uko hizo, in the indigenous communities uko, and like she was saying, a very 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 rural side of Kilifi. Is there information? Is there an information breakdown so that we can discuss matters like what Philip talked about, the psychological impact, so we can talk about the biological impact of marriage? Are there people who, aside from you, do you feel like part of the issue is information?
I think most of the time we depend on donor funding and the NGO, as she has mentioned. But when it comes to government disseminating information to the grassroots or to the community, it's very on a minimal part. Considering baraza, we only depend on chief barazas. But kuitwa somewhere, being mentored, dealing with that, and we have Ministry of Gender and Sport and many other budget allocation for sensitization part. But when it comes to that, implementation from the government is low. We always depend on donor. Donor moja akuje afanyi girl sensitization, afundishe kila mtu. And it's in budgeted. Anataka only 30 girls in a hotel. Haifiki much ni. So for us as a community activist, we do proposals, especially to bigger NGOs, to come down, and I think donors have really supported, Western donors, they've really supported it.
I'm so happy to hear that. I'm looking forward to actually hearing from what my audience has to say. So we're going to take a small break, perhaps drink some water. The sun down here is brutal. And then once we get back, we will get into our question and answer session. So I'll see you soon.
Imagine waking up to a majestic sunrise. Imagine an early morning walk on unspoiled sandy beach. Imagine the tranquil tide slowly creeping up to your feet. Imagine the breathtaking views of the blue skies over the glorious Indian Ocean. It's time to capture your imaginations. Book a beach holiday at Kenya Bay Beach Hotel, Mombasa, and turn your imaginations into reality. Prominently located along Bamburi Beach, North Coast, Mombasa, Kenya Bay is the perfect resort for a memorable beach vacation. The setting is just a prelude to an excellent potpourri of romanticism, practicality, pleasant amenities, and personalized services that will totally mesmerize you. Kenya Bay Beach Hotel. Book online now at kenyabay.com or email reservations at kenyabay.com or call reservations on 0725 991 500.
Welcome back. From our break, we discovered that so many of my people want to say something, and it's fantastic. So we're going to start off with Esha.
Thank you very much. My name is Esha. I'm one of the Beijing champions, and I'm also a founder of an organization called Her Narrative. I have a question, and my question goes to when they spoke of parental negligence. And one thing came out clearly that is happening, I think, in Kilifi, is how can we maybe replicate within the country now that it came out clearly that the government already has put in place measures to make sure we end early marriages, but also to align that with something else. We've also seen a rise in teenage to teenage sex. What can be done in regarding to that as activists and also as lawmakers? Thank you.
So, Esha, that is a fantastic question. So in regards to parental negligence, I believe the best person to deal with this would be Mheshimiwa, seeing that you already have mentorship programs, and even for the teenage to teenage pregnancies, please.
Okay, for parental negligence, I think the best way we can deal with this, first of all, is to have role models, the so-called mentor parents, so that how comes in the same society, some parents are doing well in their homes, others are not. So I think if we can identify and have role models as parents or the youths, because the same community can produce youth who are doing well in some fields, and the same community can have lots and lots of youths who are not progressing on well. So if we can do something on these people who are already excelling in different things coming from that community, they can be a resource so that they can come back and give back to the society. And also another thing, it's called modernization. I think hakuja kuwa na ile kufungiwa. Children get access to a lot of negative stuff. Si social media, si kwa media tu hizi zetu, si maradio, si TVs, even the songs. Most of the things that children get access to, mapenzi and mapenzi throughout. Ukiangalia maybe like the Christianity, Sunday to Sunday, ndio maybe TV itaaya stories za Kikristo. Fridays those TVs itaaya stories za Kiislamu. All these other days, 24/7, what are our kids accessing? Watoto wetu wanapitia vitu gani? Simu, saizi, na hiyo yote inafall under parental negligence. Where are our children getting access to phones, smartphones? Na as a parent, uko tu bado na kamulika mwizi. But mtoto ako na simu kubwa, anapata wapi? Negligence. Modernization, it has brought a lot of positivity, at the same time negativity haikosekani. So I tend to ask myself, watoto under 18, where do they get money to buy smartphone? Parent anakosa smartphone, ako na mulika mwizi. Or even some parents don't have access to a phone. But mtoto ako nayo, ana register line kutumia ID ya nani. So they get access to so many things. Ukiangalia internet, a lot of stuff, cybercrime. watoto wana get a lot of things. So when they get such kind of information, they have to put it into practicality. Ambao sasa they end up hizo sasa teen marriages hapo kwa hapo. At the end of the day, after several months, ndoa imevunjika, mtoto anarudi nyumbani, vicious cycle, poverty tena inaingilia hapo hapo. Yeah, so I think as parents we have a long way to go. And there's still a lot to be done. Kwa sababu kama serikali imejitahidi imefanya mambo mengi, a lot of initiatives. NGOs pia imejitahidi imefanya a lot of initiatives. Just like the advocate said. How inaenda after sasa kesi imewafikia, they start it up from there.
Yes.
But kama jamii hatujachukulia hili swala bado na uzito. Tunaona tu ni babu yake amefanya hivyo, ni mtu amefanya hivyo. Kama kuko na msee last year tumefunga maisha, a 72 year old amelala na mtoto wake na amelala na mjukuu wake. But ameenda kwa court instead ya kujidefend, anasema magistrate ama judge, is there any problem if nyuki imekula asali yake? So such like a mindset, community bado iko na long way to go. So as a community, ikiwa tutatake up these initiatives na tuweze kuona kweli hii ni shida, tutakuwa tumesuluhisha.
Thank you so much. I think that's well put. I don't even think I can add anything to that. So I believe the community needs to start taking initiative. Let's stop pointing fingers. You know, charity begins at home. You in your own household, what are you doing? Are you monitoring what your children are doing? You know, so I think we also need to take that back home and see what are we doing in our own households before we start pointing fingers to other people. The next question is Imelda. Imelda?
Okay, thank you so much. My question is, I applaud the government for what it is doing to, you know, help the community. But we have cases where the perpetrator or someone related to the perpetrator is a law enforcer. So you are reporting this case, but the perpetrator or the person is related or is even the law enforcer himself. So how do we go about this? Because once the law enforcer is there, it's very difficult to maneuver and to sort the issue out, because who are you going to report to when the law enforcer is the perpetrator? So how do we handle such cases?
Thank you so much, Imelda. That's a fantastic question. I believe that comes to you, Wakili. In regards to the perpetrator, what is being put in place? I know that there's the SGBV court in Shanzu,
yes.
which is, of course, is doing a fantastic job.
Yes.
So what measures have been put in place?
Yeah, and I thank you for that question. And I believe as victims, I don't like calling them victims, I call them complainants. They should always visit NGOs. I always tell them that. Because once you have your own counsel, and that's why I come in. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, but I also defend, I come on record for the complainant. So that when I personally go to the police station, I liaise with the IO, I liaise with everyone there to make sure that we have all the evidence to come to court. So it doesn't matter whether that perpetrator now is related to the IO, because I am there. I am the advocate and I'm there. So they cannot do anything because I'm representing the complainant. And that's why I encourage the complainant and to always have their own counsel. If you cannot afford a counsel, you go to the NGO. We have so many NGO. We have Kituo cha Sheria. We have IJM. They do not cost a thing. You just go to an NGO and say that I have this matter, it's defilement, and this is happening. They will come and represent you. Or you actually call me, because I'm always present. By the way, I watch brief or I watch. I don't charge when it comes to defilement matters. So yeah, always have counsel with you.
Oh, well, Elizabeth is going to give us her number and we can reach out to her. But I do agree. I think it's always very important to have, you know, to have a good backing. Yeah, when you're. But yes, Naila, you had.
What if that case is of the perpetrator is a law enforcer? For example, let's assume, I know we don't like police, but let's assume it's a police. We have IPOA. We have commission that's oversee someone's job anywhere in the country. Yeah. For example, if it's police, unapata polisi ndo amefanya hiyo kitu, unaogopa utashutiwa ama unaogopa kesi itaenda hivi. No, you don't have to worry. You report that matter to IPOA. If it's on administration, there's ombudsman court, ombudsman's office. Any other office of the government, unapata mtu ndo amekuharas, unapata that case yendo amefanya hivyo, don't shy away. There's an office oversight on what they're doing.
Fantastic.
A few. Na pia tukitumia technology, use of social media, I think watu wengi ambao wamekosa usaidizi, you are just a camera away. You can always share that, una record tu, ukiweka online. I think huwezi kukosa usaidizi. Palipo na nia huwezi kukosa njia.
I like that.
Yes.
I think that's a good place to move to the next question. So pali kuna nia, they are overseeing forces, and there's also get your crowd, which I think is what you're saying, you know, get your clout, or, you know. So it's also very important to also educate yourself on certain things, you know, especially over the oversight committees. Okay, so the next question is from Anne.
Thank you so much. My name is Anne. I work for Zalendo Africa Initiative. We run a women's program called Beijing Talks Pwani. And my question is either to the advocate or to the in-house psychologist. The government of Kenya is very committed in preventing or ending early pregnancies and early marriages. And they also committed to the generation equality commitments to end early marriages by 2026. And recently we saw the Chief Justice Koome actually launching a court, a specific court for GBV cases in Shanzu. Now my question is, what efforts are existing currently to popularize that? Because I understand the communities may not really know if there's a specific court for GBV cases. Thank you.
Justice was launching that. There were also, as my colleague has said, we have CUCs, we have the court users. So actually, we have so many organizations that are into that. So we have NGOs, we have the I always talk about IJM because I work a lot with International Justice Mission, the NGO that I work with. We have NGOs, we have other barazas, we have so many people. So these words are getting around through NGOs, barazas, as she has talked about. So basically that's how they are informed about the court. Yeah.
So, and for you, our in-house councillor, Philip, how do you think that what would be the reaction to the community on a psychological level? Like we had talked about it, the impact, but how would we go up breaching a topic that has been taboo and stigma for a very long time?
Thank you. Would say that it's very important for lobbying and advocacy from the grassroots, not from above. Anything that is being done in the national level, now it has to pick the ones who have come to terms with that. And once they pick it, it's very easy for it to get down there. And number one, we say self-awareness. Number two, self-understanding. Number three, acceptance. Most of the things have been done, but we have not accepted. So we are so much defending. No, no, no. So you find it can go anywhere. If I get it and I get to my family, if I'm one of the people who are abusing the family or doing quite a number of things, I'm quiet about it. And still, our culture is also another issue that is really stopping most of the things not to go. So we need to work from the grassroots with our culture, looking at like the chief's office and other places like what Honorable was saying about the barazas and what have you. And that can only be people who are down there. Like in Amman, we have been training the wazes, the elders. We have been really empowering them on the lobbying and advocacy, that they may be able, because they are there with the mwananchi, and from there they are able to communicate the same message in the right way.
Thank you so much. That is so well put. I believe next we have Maimuna.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Maimuna Siraj. I work for Better Coast Organization and also a Beijing Talks Pwani champion. So my question is on policy. Actually have very nice policy in Kenya. When we are talking about the return to school policy, it's very well elaborated. But we'll find that this girl is a teenage mother. She has given birth. We want to return her back to school. Are there any sensitization for the parents so that to understand that this girl, she's supposed to go back to school? Same to the teachers. Teachers are very finger pointing when it comes to a mother who has given birth, and also being able to stigmatize this girl to lower her confidence when it comes to her going back to school. So that has been a very big challenge, and my question goes to Madam Liz and also Madam Mapenzi, so that we have domesticate these policies at the county level and ensuring that we have a specifically budgetary allocation for this girl so that she could be able to go back to school and freely talk, and also being able now to feel she's back to the community and be able to embrace with her education. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maimuna. That's a fantastic question to Mheshimiwa. It really is. And you know, just to expound on what is being put in place, even by the NGOs, even by the government. Now this is a whole panel thing, but you will take it. In regards to the children who have actually, you know, the young ladies, the young girls who have been brought back from the early marriages, because you'll find that they have been saved from one situation and been thrown from the is it the frying pan into the fire, where the society is stigmatizing them. They cannot be able to pick up their lives. They cannot be able to resume routine. I mean, obviously the life will not be the same, but what is being done at least to normalize their, you know, their recovery and their journey?
Okay, I think we still have a long way to go. Because I think hapo nyuma nimesema about the community. If we take it up as a community and see this as a menace, I think tunaweza kuona vile tutasaidia hawa watoto tukiwaleta back to the community. But not so many of them wanaweza kukua kama Nalia. Like they look at the positive side of it and they decide enough is enough and they move on. Ni wachache sana. So I think the very few, like her story, it's so inspirational. I think hawa watu kama hawa tusiwaache tu behind the curtains, tuwaweke mstari wa mbele, tuweze kusaidiana, and it's not a one-man thing. We should join hands, the NGOs, serikali, kila mmoja to take up these initiatives, iwe ni mzigo wa kila mmoja, tuweze kuaccept back hawa watoto wetu, na wakikuwa wako mstari wa mbele kama hawa, tuhakikishe we don't pull them back, ili waweze kusaidia hata wale wengine ambao wameingia na wale ambao wako katika hatari ya kuingia wasiweze kuingia kule.
Thank you so much. I also believe that you know, participation like what Madam Abdallah is doing, of course, she's not shying away, because it was not her shame to keep. It was not her mistake. It was not her fault. So I believe your participation even on the Dada's show today is going to reach many girls who will sit down and they'll say, if she can be able to do this, then so can I. So I think we need to come in droves and completely support survivors, and because we are not calling them victims, we're calling them, they're our victors, they're survivors. We also need to come out in droves and support the NGOs that are working hard, you know, for the councillors who are stepping in, for the barazas that are being formed. And finally, we'll have Lendry. Lendry is going to ask our he for she. Going to ask a question. Karibu sana. I hope that the estrogen didn't overwhelm you.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to participate in this show. My name is Lendry Kakio, founder of CHADI. CHADI means Community Health and Development Initiative in Kaloleni. My question goes direct to our Wakili and our former Assistant Chief. And I'm driving it from a sentiment that has been made by the Assistant Chief. You have talked of modernity and the flow of information or infiltration of unnecessary information to our girls through different media. The question is, do we have any measures in our law that curb or coerce these medias to sieve information that flows to our children? That is one. Two, to our aspiring MCA, do you have any bill in your mind that you would want to pass in the Kilifi County Assembly that will enable the media platforms to bring unto our children the information that is relevant to them?
Okay. Thank you so much, Lendry. Mheshimiwa?
First of all, I think tumeongea about parental negligence, there are easy essentials like sanitary towels zenye watoto wetu hawazipati, na majority ama many of them wana complain kuwa hizo ndo zinawafanya wanakimbilia katika kule kwenye wanaweza pata usaidizi. So I think putting a bill ambayo inafaa ikuwe not at the county assembly only, ikuwe hata kwa national assembly, ya kuwa it is a right. If we can get condoms free of charge, if we can get condoms at 10 bob, kwa nini sanitary towels zinauzwa 50 bob inauzwa? So I think there should be a law that should be passed, ili watoto wetu wasikuwe na sababu ya kusema kuwa mimi siwezi kuaccess kitu fulani kwa sababu ya poverty. We should do away with that. And I think if we put more female legislators into place, I think tukikuwa kwa table sisi wenyewe tukipiga kelele because we've been through this, I think hiyo tunaweza kuipitisha kwa wingi zaidi.
Thank you so much, Wakili.
Just to answer your questions, we do not have specific laws that prevent the children from accessing social media. We do not have that. But we have now the Children's Act now that protect the rights of the children, you know. So I think the responsibility of preventing the children from accessing the media should go to the parents. As my colleague has talked about, it starts with us, and you know, to protect our kids. But now we have the Children's Act now that protects the children's rights. So to just answer your question.
Thank you so much. We've come to the end of our very interactive and informative, insightful episode of the Dada's Show. What I would like to leave you with is, under the Marriage Act 2014, the legal age is 18 years. So it is both illegal and shameful to be taking part in early marriage. Let's give these girls an opportunity to grow and to thrive. And for organizations out there, let's be the voice of the voiceless. As always, I would love to hear from you. So reach out to me and the rest of the team at KBC, at the Dada's KBC on all our social media platforms. On behalf of my production team at KBC, our location partners at the Kenya Bay Beach Hotel, and our partners, Journalists for Human Rights, I want to say asante sana for joining us, and I will see you next time, same place, same time. Kwaheri.